Jimmie Johnson suggests he might race more in 2026 and all but takes Legacy Motor Club out of the Daniel Suarez conversation. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I hope you're doing well. The big news yesterday, NASCAR will race in San Diego, California next summer. Father's Day weekend, triple header, Trucks Xfinity Cup on Naval Base Coronado. Check out yesterday's video for my full breakdown and analysis. Jimmie Johnson is a San Diego native from nearby El Cajon, California, and yesterday he did a media press conference to promote NASCAR to San Diego and sounded quite eager to participate in said inaugural event.
The desire to race in my hometown is off the charts. So I will aggressively work on being in the event. And if for some reason I'm not able to pull that off, I will absolutely be there and help support Legacy Motor Club, all of our partners.
Jimmie Johnson obviously needs no introduction. NASCAR Hall of Famer, 7-time Cup champion, now majority owner of Legacy Motor Club. I guess I gave y'all an introduction anyways. He made 9 Cup starts last season on a part-time schedule. This season, he's only made 2. That did come with a third-place finish in the Daytona 500. I love Jimmie Johnson's enthusiasm bringing a NASCAR Cup Series race to his hometown. I think it would be great for him to participate. It's worth noting that Jimmie Johnson will be 50 years old by this time next year. I'm trying to think of the last 50-plus-year-old driver to make a Cup Series start. I remember Mark Martin obviously won 5 races in his age 50 season. That was a decade and a half ago. But since then, Morgan Shepherd? Has there been another 50-plus driver since Morgan Shepherd? Someone in the comments will let me know. Jimmie Johnson, one-off start, San Diego street race. I love it. I hope he can make it happen. But the reason I bring up his age is that Jimmie Johnson in his press conference suggested that there may be more driving opportunities in his near future.
I want to keep going. I want to stay in a car. I think it's good for us. We're hopeful to have a third charter and need to start building a team, and there's a chance that I run more races next year if we have a third charter on the docket and have a sponsor to bring along, team members to groom, a crew chief to get reps, a driver to get reps. So there are a lot of scenarios that are in play, and I'm hopeful I can keep going.
Wow. So a couple of things there. Jimmie Johnson, at 50 years old, wants to add to his Cup Series driving schedule. That is noteworthy. He owns the team. He runs that operation. He can do what he wants, I assume, if it makes financial sense for the organization. But within those comments, he also seemed to indicate that Legacy Motor Club is open to bringing on a third part-time, maybe development driver, someone who maybe could split time in a third car with Jimmie Johnson next season. Jesse Love, 20-year-old Xfinity Series driver, has been mentioned in connection to Legacy Motor Club a couple of times in recent weeks, recent months. He's a former Toyota prospect, won the ARCA Menard Series championship a couple years ago in a Toyota. He's made a couple of Cup starts this year with Chevrolet, actually has another Cup start coming up this weekend at the Brickyard. He'll be driving for Beard Motorsports. Is Jesse Love, who only has 2 Xfinity wins so far, both on super speedways, is Jesse Love ready to go full-time Cup Series racing? I'm not sure. I think he could hold his own. I just don't think he would be very successful off the bat. I think his season would look a lot like Riley Herbst's 2025 season, and Riley Herbst is 35th in points with 0 top 10s. It's been rough, especially if Jesse Love was to get into a Legacy Motor Club car, which while they've made improvements this year, that's still a 20-something place car most weeks. Yeah, I would expect a rookie Jesse Love to struggle. So maybe part-time, run 15, 20 races next year, a little less pressure. You have Jimmie Johnson as a mentor. Matt Kenseth is there as a driver coach. Some great Hall of Fame mentors in your ear. That could be a great opportunity for Jesse Love to really get his feet wet, not only back in the Toyota system, but also in the NASCAR Cup Series. Jesse Love, part-time in 2026. Share that car with Jimmie Johnson. The team develops, and by 2027, Jesse Love might be ready to go full-time to try and keep up with his buddy Connor Zilisch. Now, changing the subject slightly, Daniel Suarez is another name that's been thrown around by media and fans. Suarez has said he has nothing left to prove in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He wants to race in Cup, but if you look around the league, there don't seem to be many options available. Legacy Motor Club trying to expand to a third car. Suarez has Toyota connections, won an Xfinity title for Toyota 9 years ago. Perhaps Suarez to Legacy Motor Club makes some sense. We know he brings some sponsorship. He's a fan favorite, international appeal. Jimmie Johnson in this press conference yesterday was raving about NASCAR and international growth. So there's a lot of things on paper that make sense there. Yesterday, Jimmie Johnson seemed to shoot down any real possibility of Daniel Suarez driving for Legacy Motor Club. Here is what he said.
Well, first and foremost, Danny's a great friend and somebody I stay in touch with, and great talent, and very popular, and can really perform on any track, and then has great sponsorship interest, and is a very well-rounded modern day NASCAR athlete. So a real opportunity for any team owner. I would love to think about him seriously, but I don't have a seat. On top of the fact, I'm not sure if and when we'll get a seat, as we're trying to acquire our third charter. So I would look hard at him if we were prepared and ready and moving in that direction. But in this instance, I highly doubt timing's going to work out.
Listening to Jimmie's comments, it feels like he has a plan. They've got a driver in mind. They have an idea of how they're going to fund it. They just need that third charter. Can they get it from Rick Ware Racing? Time will tell. Whatever the plan is, it doesn't sound like it includes Daniel Suarez. Pivoting fully to Daniel now, it's been a few weeks since Suarez and Trackhouse made their impending divorce official. He wants to stay in Cup, but I'm not sure there's been much chatter so far. And that's probably because right now there are 0 known Cup Series openings for 2026. None. Right now, every expected full-time entry, I guess besides the Trackhouse 99, has a driver under contract for at least next year. Now, like we saw last fall with Corey LaJoie, contracts can be bought out. And while most driver contract terms are kept private, it's likely that many drivers are only signed through the 2026 season, only have 1 year left on their deal. So could a team with a struggling driver buy out the final year of their contract and bring Daniel Suarez in? Maybe. But that's a big maybe, especially when I would consider Daniel Suarez to be a struggling driver himself. Looking at the standings, results, overall performance, expectations, these are some of the most disappointing drivers and teams of the 2025 season so far. Beginning with Daniel Suarez. Coming into this season, there was a lot of pressure on this driver, this team to deliver. They haven't. Suarez is 29th in points. His rookie teammate Shane Van Gisbergen is 26th, and Daniel Suarez is supposed to be the oval guy compared to SVG. The last 7 oval races, Suarez has a 25th place average finish, SVG 23rd. He's not even better than SVG at the ovals. That's why Suarez unfortunately does not have a job going into next season. Another driver team that struggled this year, very disappointing, has been Brad Keselowski, a former series champion. Yes, they've been a lot better lately, much faster the past few weeks, but it was an awful start to the season. Outside the top 30 in points, took forever to score a single top 10 finish. Even now, he's only recovered to 27th. Now, I included Brad in this segment, but I don't think he's going to step down or anything. I expect him to drive this car next year. He runs the team. It's his call ultimately, but I still wanted to mention him because it has been a disappointing season so far. How about Justin Haley? Look, I'll defend Justin Haley. First full year back with Spire, and 9 weeks in, his crew chief, car chief, and pit crew leave. That is a lot of turmoil for a young driver to overcome. Still, as we've seen, Spire Motorsports expects results. They bought out the remainder of Corey LaJoie's contract like we talked about. They brought in a veteran, Michael McDowell. They let Rodney Childers go after just a few weeks. Now there are rumblings that they might be downsizing their truck program, building back up their Xfinity Series deal, maybe building their own truck Xfinity Cup pipeline. They have an ARCA driver making a start this weekend. They want to be the next NASCAR powerhouse. And while Justin Haley did sign a multi-year deal coming into this season, Spire has shown a willingness to throw cash around if it means getting what they want when they want it. So Justin Haley could be one to watch. Todd Gilliland, 32nd in points. What happened here? There was a lot of pressure on young Todd Gilliland coming into the season with McDowell out. Gilliland expected to take on more of a driver leadership role. Started the year off pretty good, actually, but has cratered the last couple months. Over the past 8 races, Gilliland has a 27th place average finish and 0 top 20 finishes. Now, we know that Front Row likes Todd Gilliland. In the past, when they've had their choice to move on, they've thrown their support behind him. His father drove for the team, so I feel like his job is still fairly safe, but they are struggling, and that naturally will raise questions. And then finally, I gotta mention Noah Gragson. This one is confusing because last year on a sinking ship, Noah averaged a top 20 finish and was 20 to 25th in points almost all season. Pretty good. He brings the same crew chief over to Front Row, which seems to be a more stable situation than what Stewart Haas was last year, and they've been awful. 6 DNFs tied for the second most, 33rd in points. And over the last 8 races, basically this whole summer, his average finish is 30th place, specifically 30.25. That's terrible. Look, I know he's had some bad luck, like he got caught up in a wreck while running inside the top 10 at Dover this past weekend, but generally speaking, the speed, the performance, the execution have not been there. I am surprised and very disappointed that this team has been so terrible this season. Noah is the newest face at Front Row Motorsports. Again, I expect all these guys to return next year. That seems to be where their contracts are headed, but when we're talking buyouts, when we're talking teams making a sudden potential pivot, this is another driver that struggled his first year with his new team. I'll throw out one more, I guess, Ty Dillon, and I only throw him out not because he's been disappointing by any means. He's in the in-season challenge finale. I think he's done everything Kaulig expected of him, but Kaulig Racing has shown in the past they'll follow the money, they'll switch out drivers every single year. So theoretically, yes, I could see Kaulig moving one of their drivers to make room for Daniel Suarez if the price is right. So I'll mention Ty Dillon, not because he's been disappointing by any means, but because that's sort of the situation he's in. But again, everyone I just mentioned, according to what is public, has a contract for next season. Is it a team option? Is it just 1 year remaining that could be bought out? That is all unknown. That is all TBD, which is why I mention them. But if you're asking me to guess right now, I imagine all these guys will stay in their current places. I think Noah stays in the 4. I think Justin Haley stays in the 7, at least for next season. Daniel Suarez, he may bring some funding. He has a passionate fan base. Again, international appeal. He is a struggling driver himself. He has not performed up to Trackhouse standards the past couple of seasons. I don't think he is a slam dunk signing for any Cup Series team right now. There is risk associated with signing Daniel Suarez, in my opinion, which is why I feel a full-time Xfinity ride would be awesome. He would contend, bring character to that series, some gravitas. Anyway, that's just my selfish opinion. We'll see where Daniel Suarez ends up, but wanted to share those comments from Jimmie Johnson with you all, talk about some other drivers in Cup who've struggled this year and could be on the hot seat, if not now, moving into 2026. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. That is going to do it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more NASCAR news, content, commentary, race reactions, interviews, and so much more. And I really appreciate your very generous support. Have a great rest of your night, folks. I will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.